Chapter number 23, Publication Ethics. Now we all know about life cycle of research. It starts with data needs, and ultimately when you have your research ready with conclusions and future recommendations, then obviously you want to publish it. But why research need to be published, or why you should publish your research? First of all, and that is the most common one, that you want to promote your academic and career progression. Second, it allows us to communicate our findings with our peer groups and others. It increases your credibility as a researcher and scientist. And fourth, it increases responsibility to influence. Common people can also read this research finding and get benefited. And finally, you can identify or fulfill some research gaps, and you can also make a path for future or potential areas of research, right? So these reasons are sufficient for you to publish your work. Now, postgraduate biomedical research in India unfortunately lack relevance. Basically, it does not address the local needs. It uses inappropriate design and methods, and inaccessibility of full report is often as it does not get published. And PG research can contribute to clinical practice. So yeah, that is the scenario of PG biomedical research in India. So, which of the following is incorrect about publishing research finding? Publication often helps in career progression and academic promotion. True. It is a way to communicate research finding with peers. True. Conflicts of interest can be suppressed. No, it has to be declared. You have to declare any conflict of interest in your study. So C is the answer here because it is incorrect. It identifies research gap. That is true. All statements are correct except, so you have to find the false statement. Publishing paper is important for getting promotion. True. Publishing research help to identify research gap. True. Negative finding in research should not be published. No, actually you should publish even the negative findings because that also have its importance. So yeah, that is the answer here. That is the false statement. Which of the following is incorrect about publishing a research work? Important for promotions. Yes. Research finding help to identify research gap. Yes. Common people should not read research finding. No, they actually read research finding, and nowadays in era of Google and social media, it is very common that even layperson has access to all the research, medical research, and yes, they get influenced by it also. So what are the components of publication ethics? So there are 6 main components. First is ethics review. Second, fabrication and falsification. Third deals with authorship. Fourth deals with plagiarism. Then fifth deals with submission ethics, and finally conflict of interest. So we'll look at this one by one. Let us start with ethics review. So first of all, you should have ethics committee approval, whether it is human or animal as per national guidelines. Second, informed consent is must when you are conducting research with human participants. If it is a minor, you have to take assent, because unless you have these two, none of the journals are going to accept your manuscript for publication. Trials registration with CTRI, that is Clinical Trial Registry of India, is mandatory before starting the trial, and ethical issues are high in clinical trials compared to descriptive studies. That's why they have made it mandatory. Then data confidentiality. Without institutional permission, you cannot share your data with someone for analysis who is working in a different institution. That's why I have remembered it as C4: committee, consent, CTRI, and confidentiality. So ethics review deals with these 4 things: ethics committee, informed consent, CTRI, and data confidentiality. So which of the following is true regarding clinical trial? It is mandatory to register in the CTRI? Yes. After completing it? No, you have to take it before even starting it. So first is wrong. Ethical issues are low in clinical trial? No, they are very high. Informed consent is must. Yes, that is true. That is true. Informed consent is must for recruiting study participants in clinical trials. So C is the answer here. All clinical trials in India should register with CTRI. That is true. A neonatologist planned to conduct clinical trial to explore the effect of intervention X on hypothermia of newborn child aged less than 7 days over intervention A. So you are comparing two intervention for hypothermia. So all are true about the trial except ethics committee approval is must. Yes, that is true. Trial should be registered with CTRI. That is also true. Informed consent should be taken from either of parents. That is also true. Age appropriate assent is a must in this trial because it is a newborn child. So here assent is not an issue. You have to take consent from the parent. Second point or second component is fabrication and falsification. Now let us understand these two terms. Fabrication means you are generating fake data from other studies. That means, and you are using that fake data as your own result data. So your research results are not from your own study, it is from some other study. That is known as fabrication. Falsification means you have generated your data but you are altering it or you are manipulating it. So manipulating or altering your original data, that is known as falsification, and both are wrong practices. A final year PG student came to me requesting to analyze his thesis data. He also asked if I could make some significant result, though they were not initially so. So that means he wants to manipulate the data through me. So it is falsification. Curiously, I asked how he collected data. To my surprise, he revealed that he has taken data from his senior's thesis. So his results are not his own. He has taken from someone else's research. So it is fabrication. So this guy is doing both the things. He has fabricated the data and he also wants to falsify it. And both are serious misconduct. They breach the trust of common people. They cause loss of time and resources. All case report form and data, that's why should be preserved. If your research comes under any scrutiny for any reason, to defend that you must preserve your data for a sufficiently long duration, either in paper form or electronic form. So altering original data is falsification. Manipulating data is fabrication. No, it is falsification. Now the most important thing, that is authorship, and sometimes it creates lots of controversy in departments. So authorship confers the credit. It implies responsibility and accountability of the published work. So each author should be very clear about their responsibility even before starting the research, and it is mandatory to declare the contribution of each author while publishing your research. And some people, they just put name of their either HODs or some senior professors or senior person just as a guest or ghost authorship, and that is not an ethical practice. So always decide on authorship when you are writing the protocol. And ICMJ, that is International Committee of Medical Journal Education editors, has recommended 4 criteria based on which authorship can be decided. First of all, first criteria is that that person has made a substantial contribution. That means it is his concept or his design, or he has taken the data, he has analyzed it, or he has interpreted it. So that is substantial contribution. Second, he or she has drafted the work or revising it, right? So not one criteria, there's all four criteria has to be met, right? Third is a final approval of version. It is mandatory that all authors should approve the final version. And fourth one, that he agrees to be accountable for all aspects of work, ensuring that questions related to accuracy or integrity are appropriately investigated and resolved, right? Now, is the student or researcher who has undertaken the research work. He is also the presenting author, and he is basically doing the research practically, and he is the one who is responsible for making or preparing the manuscript and analysis. Now, who is the corresponding author? Corresponding author is the person or a senior author who provides the intellectual input, who guides him or her, and designs and approves the protocols to be followed in the study. He is responsible for any manuscript correction, proofreading, and whole correspondence during the paper submission, handling revisions and submission of revised manuscript up to the acceptance of manuscript. Is there any limit for number of authors for a publication? No. You can have as many number of authors for your manuscript, but they all should have contributed according to the guideline. Can I publish my manuscript without adding my head of institution as one of the author? If he or she has contributed considerably to the manuscript, yes, obviously you have to add him or her. But if you are giving authorship or gifting him as a guest or ghost authorship, it is a publication misconduct. Which of the following is not an essential criteria for authorship? Conceptualization, yes. Drafting manuscript, yes. Approval of final manuscript, yes. Being departmental head is not even a criteria for authorship. State whether true or false. First author is responsible for addressing comments received from reviewers of journal. No, it is a function of corresponding author. Senior resident of psychiatry department of a medical college wrote a manuscript based on his thesis work. He put his wife's name as co-author, who is working in physiology department of same college. Which of the following statements supports the act of senior resident providing authorship to his wife? He can give authorship to anyone since it is his research work? No. The guide should decide who should be authors? No. His wife has contributed in designing residents' thesis work? Yes. If that is the case, then yes, his wife's name should be included. It is not a good practice to include research from a different department. No, that is not the case. Even if it's from different department, you can include him or her, but the main thing is what is his or her contribution. So here answer is C. All of the following help in reducing ethical issues associated with research publication except ethics committee permission. Yes, it helps. Including guest author, no, that does not help. So B is the answer here. Let us see other option. Permission from copyright holder to reproduce figure. Yes, that has to be taken. Declaring familiar relationship between author and CEO of funding agency. Yes, financial disclosure has to be put. Which is an incorrect about authorship. Authorship confers credit, responsibility and accountability. True. ICMJ criteria. True. Mandatory to declare contribution of each author. True. It is not mandatory that all authors should approve. No, all author must approve. All authors' permission is needed for the final version of manuscript. Best practice for determining the authorship. Criteria given by ICMJ. That is the best criteria. Which of the following is correct about determining authorship? ICMJ criteria. 4 criteria are there and all 4 must be met. Again, plagiarism. That is the 4th component. And what is it? Use of previously published manuscript by someone from his or her manuscript, or unreferenced use of others' published or unpublished ideas without their consent, credit or acknowledgement. In simple form, it is copy paste, copying text word to word. What are the different types of plagiarism? First is direct, complete or partial copying without any acknowledgement to original author. Self-plagiarism, some people duplicate their previous work or sentences. Redundant publication, also known as salami publications, publishing similar manuscripts based on the same experiments. And plagiarism is also a serious publication misconduct. And what are the consequences? Journal can retract the manuscript. Institute can take action on such author or researcher. Researcher loses its professional reputation. And journal can blacklist the author, preventing him from any future submission of manuscripts. So how to avoid it? First of all, don't copy paste. Write in your own words. Spend some time on your research. If you are using someone else's work, at least acknowledge them, even it is unpublished, and cite them. Cite your references accurately. Avoid writing several articles of the same type. Use anti-plagiarism software tools. For example, Urkund or Authenticate or Turnitin. These are some of the tools that you can use. True or false? Unpublished work must be acknowledged. Yes, true. Even if it is unpublished, if it is some other's idea that you are using, you have to acknowledge. PG student in a medical college submit proposal to ethics committee. Committee found that proposal is a copy of earlier proposal. So that is plagiarism. Which of the following is false about plagiarism? Copy paste, yes, that is true. Copying someone's idea, true. Not a serious misconduct, it is a serious misconduct. So that is the answer here. Consequences: general retraction, action on author, lose professional reputation. So all are the serious consequences of plagiarism. An editor of reputed journal found that most of the findings of a manuscript matches the previously published paper from different author. So it is a plagiarism. Which of the following is true? We can retract the article, inform authors, institute about it so that they can take action, and researcher will lose reputation. So all of the above is the answer. Dr. D has copied the idea of Dr. A for his thesis. Copying an idea shouldn't be considered plagiarism. No. Copying even someone else's idea is also a plagiarism. Dr. A is in process of writing review of literature. Her guide has instructed her to avoid plagiarism. A should take care all of the following measures, except avoid copy paste, yes. Acknowledge original source, yes. Take help of softwares, yes. Copy her own previous work, no. That is even self-plagiarism, so avoid that. The fifth component, submission ethics. Some people, they submit the same manuscript at the same time in different journals. This is known as simultaneous submission. And once it is accepted in one journal, they withdraw it from other journal. This is a very common practice that I have observed also. And even if you submit it in different language, it is considered as simultaneous submission. So that is again a wrong practice. Duplicate submission or duplicate publication. Submitting the same manuscript or new manuscript with same hypothesis, data and conclusion. Salami slicing. Some people, they just they're not concerned with the quality of research. They just want numbers, that I have published this many publications. So what they do, they slice their work. So from one manuscript, which actually comprehensively covering all aspects, they put multiple manuscripts out of it, and they submit it to journal. So instead of publishing one work, they divide it into multiple manuscripts and submit multiple manuscripts for publication. This is known as salami slicing. Self-citation. Some people, they cite their own articles in their own future work. So that is again wrong practice. Predatory journals, and this is a very common problem, especially in India. Publishes manuscript without any peer reviews and consideration of scientific, ethical or regulatory guidelines. University Grant Commission Consortium or Academic and Research Ethics. They have generated a list of such kind of predatory journals, but daily new are coming in the market. Can I submit my manuscript to more than one journal to save time? No, you cannot. Submitting a manuscript to more than one journal is known as simultaneous publication. A group of researchers submitted manuscript. Even after 5 months, they did not receive peer review comments. Author decided to submit in a different journal without informing the previous journal. That is considered as simultaneous submission. You have finished writing manuscript, plan to publish it. Which is the best practice? Submit to multiple journals? No. Submit to journal and wait for journal response. That is the ideal practice. Submit to many journals, once published in one, withdraw from other? No. That is simultaneous submission. That should not be done. Submit same in different language? No. That is also not accepted. A researcher conducted study to identify risk factors for bronchial asthma exacerbation. Researcher was due for promotion and he was lacking publication for it. So to have maximum number, he decided to produce 3 different manuscripts instead of 1. What is it called? It is called salami slicing. A group of researchers submitted manuscript for publication based on drug trial. Because they do not register under CTRI, journal rejected the paper. Researchers submitted the paper in different journal and this journal published it without asking any queries. So what is the correct statement? First of all, it is necessary to register all drug trials under CTRI. That is true. In journal which published the paper, it is a predatory journal. It is just that journal just wants money, nothing else. It has nothing to do with ethical or regulatory aspects of research. Now the 6th component is conflict of interest. It could be financial, personal or social or any other interest which directly or indirectly influence the conduct of author. Conflict of interest does not necessarily means that it changes the outcome, but you have to disclose any such conflicts during submission. It is mandatory, so that readers can determine the influence of such conflicts on conclusions of paper. Direct or indirect influence of which of the following aspect is considered COI? Financial, personal, social, all. Which is correct in relation to conflict of interest? It is always financial? No. It could be personal or social also. Necessary changes the outcome? No. It is not that always conflict of interest affects the outcome or changes it, but it has to be declared. It is recommended to hide? No. You have to declare. Readers can determine the influence. Yes, we left it on readers to decide what is the influence of these conflicts on the conclusions of the paper. Okay, what are the consequences of this research misconduct that we have discussed earlier? So there is a committee known as COPE, Committee on Publication Ethics, which directly deals with publication ethics and describes the consequences of research misconduct. So it depends whether it is a major misconduct or minor one, and author can also get blacklisted if it is a major misconduct, and institute also can take actions as per information provided by COPE. So which of the following organization deals with publication ethics? It is COPE, Committee on Publication Ethics. Now, many of us are working as a teaching faculty in medical colleges and institution, and as per MCA regulation, it has changed from 2015. So now MCI valid journals, if you want to find them, just see what is the indexing. At least one of these indexing should be there. Scopus, PubMed Central or Medline, Expanded MBAS, Dodge, that is Directory of Open Access Journals, Citation Index, and Science Citation. Any one is suffice. If more than one is there, obviously it is always good. Which type of article? Earlier only original research was considered, but now they are also considering meta-analysis and systemic reviews as well as case series. Now that is new thing. And earlier that was saying that it has to be national or international, and there was a lot of confusion about society and association and specialty. Now they've removed it. They have just focused it on indexing. Any one good indexing is sufficient, and it has to be original research, systemic reviews or meta-analysis, and case series. Authorship. Only 2 authors were considered earlier, first and corresponding, but now there is a scope for first 3 authors and a corresponding author. So minimum 4 people will get benefited for promotions. So that has to be remembered here. Type of journal. E-journals were not included earlier, but there is no such comments here. So I think that if e-journal is also having any of these indexes, now it is being considered. That is my interpretation. So checklist for publication ethics. First of all, you should check you have all approval and consents. Approval from regulatory authorities, your IRB or IEC, for CTRI, clinical registration, and informed consent. Check for any data accuracy, falsification, on fabrication, plagiarism checking. Check for that you are not simultaneously submitting your previous work, or you have excessive citation of your own publication is not there. You are not giving any ghost or guest authorship, and you have included all the people involved, and you are on agreement with all of them. Conflict of interests are declared, both financial as well as scientific. Can I publish my research study results which was negative? Yeah, I think you should publish negative results also. I've seen many people, they hide their negative findings. No, you should publish them. They also carry weightage. Is there any time limit to publish research of a research study? No. There are no strict guidelines about it. It mostly depends on relevance of your topic. So that's all for this.